That's the team that plays to win for you and me.
Welcome back, Shimboners. On today's podcast, we'll be previewing round 5 and gather round as Baz heads on tour over to Adelaide. But before we get there, and I've done a big chief and talked about myself in third person, but breaking news, this is probably the biggest news of the season. I'm pretty sure Mitch Cleary will be reporting on this. But our man, the Big Chief, has some groundbreaking news to announce, so I won't hold you up any further. I'll pass it on to him. Go ahead, Chieftain.
Right, so I've got some good news. It's what has been a fairly down week. Got a new member of the most exclusive of the CCC, the Chiefs Competitors Club. Parker, he's in. There were questions earlier about how long it'll take him to get in. I started off with 50 games. But if you come with broken ribs and play like you did last Saturday night, you're in. That's what it's all about, being a competitor. Not, I'm a bit sore, I can't play this week, Clarko. No, bandage me up, put me in there, and I'll smash 8 tackles out for you. That's competitive stuff. That's why he's in. And, that's the 5th member. He's the 5th Beatle.
Yeah, so he had 27 disposals, 2 goals, 8 tackles, and about 15 fights as well, which I love too. Because that takes it out of you, and he didn't care.
Didn't back down from any of them. They were getting into his ribs too. And I did actually notice during the game that he had something under his jumper, but it wasn't until it was reported later that we realised, or I realised, that he had broken ribs. And I thought, well, to play like that with broken rib, or cracked rib, big tick for me. So he's in.
I love it. That is huge news because quite often our listeners have proposed players to be added, and it takes a lot. There's a detailed criteria that has to be met before they can even be eligible, let alone admitted to the CCC.
Exactly. You play with broken ribs, and then you smash in. And we saw some other efforts, some other players who were 100% fit, who could learn a lot by watching him. Yes, anyway, I'll leave that alone. This is a good news segment, so he's in.
Well, that's great. And I'm sure probably number 1 on his career achievement, CCC. Yeah, probably his flag and All Australia and everything else. But
well, that's below. The flag.
Of course.
The flag was Sydney's below. His captaincy at Sydney's below.
Nobody cares. All Australian. He won't care. He'll be chest out at training tomorrow, I would have thought.
Yep. Look out at the captain's run. You'll be leading him out, I reckon.
Right, let's get into our next segment. So, for those who haven't listened to the last couple, for every episode number over 100, we're going to name our favourite player that we've seen, wear that Guernsey number. So, episode 103 today, so our favourite number 3 of all time. I will let you take the new ball today.
All right, well, I'm going in the time machine back to the 80s, Jimmy Clarko. What a fantastic player he was, along with his brother, who might be a sneaky chance at number 8 as well. But Jimmy Clarko, I looked him up today because it's a long time ago, the 80s, right? He played 134 games, and if I can find the page, 134 games, kicked 229 goals as a rover. Gee, talk about a goal-kicking midfielder. How would you kill for him now, wouldn't you? And he was like 167, and he had about 9 fights every game too, because he was very heavily abused in a way you wouldn't get away. Well, you shouldn't have got away with then, and you certainly wouldn't get away with now, which is a good thing. And his connection with his brother, and every week there's just the Clarko brothers. There was Jimmy or Phil best on ground. They really did a lot of heavy lifting. Back in the day, back in the 80s.
That's a great selection. I'm going to go to mine, and this was, well, what I imagine will be probably the hardest number to choose for me personally. So going through some of the contenders, maybe not so much this man, but Jed Anderson, I loved the way he went about it and used to give away a free kick every week because of the spear tackle. Tough as nails, and love the way he went about it. A big shout out to Harry Sheasel, obviously our superstar number 3. He's not getting the tick. Yeah, I know. That's very surprising for you. And then probably the two came down to 2 players, but the man who didn't unfortunately get my choice was Brady Rawlings. So he was one of my favourite players growing up as a Tasmanian, and when I ran out with the boys, I think it was 2011 or 12. No, it would have been 10 or 11, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, what an honour to run out with them. Gee, you must have had some good connections there to get someone to organise that for you.
Yeah, the big chief sorted that one. But so basically the process is you run out and then the club official says, you can go and shake the hand of your favourite player. And so I went up and spoke to Brady before the game and while he was having a few set shots. And funny story, so obviously when you're a younger fella, you're running out and kicking the footy when you're running into the goal square. I kicked it from about 30 out and kicked it into the back of Corey Jones's head. So,
God, poor Corey.
Public apology 15, 16 years later to Corey Jones. I think he had a shocker that day too, did he? Or...
I think that was one of his last years.
Yeah.
Was that the one where Brady he played on Cyril?
Yeah, it was.
And kicked the winner.
Yeah, we did win that game, yeah.
Yeah, he ran off him and kicked the winner.
I'm pretty sure it was that game.
About the last time we won it,
We'll roll with that anyway. But the man that I've given my favourite number 3 of all time to, and it's for his on-field and off-field antics, and he's kicked a ridiculous goal in his country footy this week, but the man who our prestigious award's named after, Ryan Bastanak, is the favourite to don the number 3. He obviously played the 121 games for North, 164 overall. He was a pick 21. He was unfortunately, was not a benefit of the Brad Scott era and got pushed out for some of the stars we brought in through trade and free agency. But big fan of Basti and the way he has a outlook on life, and he's just enjoys his work and enjoys a froth too. So and of course he was good enough to jump on with us in our first 10 episodes. I think it was episode 6 or 7 he came on with us. So if you're relatively new, go back and listen to that. He's a loose operator and we love to have him, and we will get him on again at some point this year.
Excellent.
Right, so Gather Round this week. What are your thoughts on Gather Round just as an idea? You're a fan of it?
Yeah, well, Tassie want to pitch it.
Well, that'd be nice.
Well, it would be nice, and I think we should get it. I think we should get it when the team comes in.
It's a bit spread out though, isn't it? That's the only downside.
No, it's going to be the beauty of it. Play
Yeah,
all
what
over the state.
What if I want to go to all 7, 8 games?
Well, you get in your car. It's not that hard.
Well, as we described to our listeners when we were asked a question about Colby last week, it is 2.5 hours between the two big cities.
Yes.
On a good day.
Yes. But you've played down at Devonport.
Well, that's true.
Penguin, maybe. Queenstown? Who's the softest team in the AFL?
Oh, that's a good question.
We'll put Jason down there. He won't like it. He won't like the gravel race. Imagine him then getting in an ice bath after playing on the gravel at Queenstown. That'd sort him out. So a good one for Port Adelaide. Yeah,
but for the listeners who are heading over, enjoy it. I'll be there as well, so come say good day, particularly at the Barossa, where we'll be heading down Saturday, sampling a few wines, probably pre and I reckon post-game, because it could get ugly, which we'll preview shortly. But
are you catching up with Kane? Your mate Kane?
Oh, we'll go on a walk and talk.
Maybe you should go to his garden shed, do the end of round review with him.
I probably will. Probably take over from you, to be honest.
Which game, apart from the mighty Kangas, are you looking forward to the most?
It's probably like tomorrow night's going to be great, Adelaide and Geelong, because it should be a tightly contested game. But I'm looking forward purely from a crowd aspect for Sunday night when the Port Filth get Jack Ginnivan doing the planes to them and all that sort of stuff. It'll be entertainment personified.
Yes, I think that is the neutrals call, the match of the round.
I'll tell you the game I'm least looking forward to. Saturday night, 2 shit teams. It'll be a snooze fest.
Who?
Essendon and Melbourne. It'll be about 46 to 50 because neither of them can score.
One of them will win. Yeah. That'll be good news, and bad news for the loser.
Right, so let's get into our preview of round 5. We'll start with an injury update. So, unfortunate news that Jackson Archer will be missing for 1 to 2 weeks. And Kevin, I'm just keeping my eye on you. You better not have been making him do 100 hundreds while he was serving his suspension, because we know Jacko's an overtrainer, but unfortunate setback for him.
Yes, and I was looking forward to him coming back in, but we'll have to wait at least 1 week and maybe 2.
But the positive news for everyone, and no one more than you, is that George Wardlaw is available for selection this week.
Well, he better be selected. Or Clarko's already on the watch list. If he doesn't play George, look out, because there's no point. Well, there's no reserves anyway playing. There's no point playing him in reserves because he goes 1,000%.
Yeah, they might just don't want to get him on a plane potentially. Playing devil's advocate. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I'll tell you what, you hold him back and he won't be happy.
He'll throttle Clarko, I reckon.
He will. But no, if he's right to go, he's right to go. As long as he pulled up, all right, play him. And if he hasn't got the full match fitness, you can always sub him off.
Well, that's a good point.
They've always played him at reduced minutes anyway. Even when he was playing in his first 2 years, only playing about 60% of the time because they were worried about his strings.
So let's have a look at the last time we met. And usually this is the down segment, but we've got a winning streak against the Suns with one of our 3 wins last year coming round 17 at the Marvel where we got up by 4 points. Some of the best on that day, Colby had 37 and of course the 4 bounce play as well where he hit Larky up. Sheasel had 35 and 1. Elder you had 30 and 1. So circle those two. We need that performance this week.
Okay.
Score involvements and disposal. And then in terms of goal kicking, the big Sylv kick 3. But
Tommy Powell kicked a torpedo.
he did on the run.
On the run. More of that, please.
Yeah, Tommy Torp. But Sylv 9 the time before against Collins, who's actually improved a lot. So that'd be a tough matchup for him.
Yes, we were there when he kicked 9, of course, at Boot Park. And, Collins got a bit of feedback as he came off with his shirt off.
He certainly did. Let's have a look at what my changes to the team would be. So coming in, I'm playing Wardlaw. If he's ruled out, then Phillips takes his place. Finn O'Sullivan comes back in for mine if he's not too ill, which I got a message from a listener who'd been talking to the club doctor and said that he was really ill. Hadn't been at the club for 6 days because he was proper sick. So hopefully he's all right to come back in. And I'm debuting the big Finbar. It's Finbar time, baby. Bring him in, I reckon. Stretch the Suns. They've only got 2 key defenders in their side.
Yes.
And they've got a lot of these Bodie Hewlands, Will Powers distributors. Let's stretch them out. And
They've got a lot of... Well, you've missed the main 2 distributors they got off half-back.
Well, Rioli and Noble, yeah.
Yes.
But I meant
a lot of run there.
What I meant by Hewland and... who's the other one I mentioned? Powell. Is that they generally play on the 3rd tall.
Yes.
3rd or 4th tall. So stretch them out. And what also it does is it doesn't give us too much of a downside when Big X goes off because Finbar's a lot more effective in the ruck than either Larky or Jack Darling.
Yes, I like it.
So coming out, I've got, unfortunately, Whitlock, more for team balance. I feel bad for the young fella coming in for 1 game and then getting dropped. But I've got him going out, Hanson Jr. going out, and a statement needed to be made. So I've got Bailey Scott getting dropped as well.
Yes, I like it. He's on the watch list. And Clarko needs to make a statement. Now, there's 2 ways you can go after last week's shit show, right? You can back him in again and say, you embarrassed yourselves, go and fix it, right? Or he can bring the axe and make some big changes. And I think Bailey Scott would be a big change. He's a senior player. He's been in the leadership group. And he hasn't performed over the start of this year, as the team hasn't.
Now, I will say I had, before the news of Archer came out, I had Tucker coming out for Archer as well, so for him to be dropped as well. But I think moving him to the sub, although he's not dynamic, I just want Hardiman in the starting 22.
Yeah, so do I. I want him in the back line, or you could even move him up to the Scott's wing. But we need his run out of the back line because we can't get it out of there and we can't leave it all up to little mini helmet whose best play is kicking it 25 metres, 30 metres.
agree.
And then they're calling it play on these days.
And he's had a horror start, really.
He has. And I think I'm putting it on... Clarko's on the watch list for those who listened. And let's go right back to the start of the season. We thought we were going to improve. We played Melbourne in a scratch match, Melbourne reserves, got beaten easily. Then who we front up next in the next scratch
West
match?
Coast.
West Coast, over there at our home ground, at Bunbury, in the wind, got beaten by West Coast. We've seen how bloody crap they are. So Melbourne reserves beat us, West Coast beat us, and they had a few key players out. And round 1, Bulldogs, we both tipped us to beat the Bulldogs. Didn't happen. We were competitive enough, and some people are happy with that. Well, I'm beyond getting happy with competitive. We're meant to rise this year. Round 2, who did we have?
Melbourne,
we won. But it was pretty even at half time, or even 3/4 time, wasn't it? We booted away and we were very up and about. But we've seen how crap Melbourne are since. And then Adelaide blew us away, and then Sydney in the second half blew us away.
Well, that's...
and that was the Sydney reserves.
I don't know about that.
7 missing.
Yeah, but they've still got a lot of talent out there.
Okay, Clarko, you tell us how good the opposition are.
No, but I don't...
You keep telling us how good the opposition are. I'm sick of it. It's time we were good.
I know, I agree.
If we're ever going to beat Sydney, when was it going to be? Under the lid, our home deck.
I'm not disagreeing
with 7
with you.
Starters missing.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying that I was strong last pod about Clarko's comments. I'm just saying, to say they're a reserves team is a bit heavy.
Well, they had 7 reserves playing. Seven of their best players missing. And who do we have? George.
And Arch.
And Arch. Yeah, okay. We too.
But if the selection committee don't choose to bring in Finbar, then they've got to put Chom forward. There has to be a second ruck better than Darling.
Okay, so I watched First Crack today. So it wasn't First Crack for me because it's Tuesday, but that comes on Sunday night. And they had the ground dimensions up. And it's a small ground.
It's
narrow.
It's
short and narrow.
Shorter than the SCG.
Yes.
I think.
No, it's about the same. A little bit longer, but it's a lot narrower. It's only 120 metres wide and about 167. Yes, well done. So it's short. So it's going to be congested, right? So we need strong players over the ball, and we probably, if we kick long because it's short, we're going to have someone that can take a contested mark up there. So I like Finbar or Chom. One of them has to go forward. And Chom's best game was against Melbourne. And what did they do? Dump kick it.
Straight to
it. Yeah, well, so he could be free. But whenever we play a team with a bit more composure and skill, they hit up his man and he can't intercept. So get him forward because he'll fly for contested mark because Darling's... He's not quite tall enough, is he? And that's not Sulsko. So don't get beaten by what you know, Clarko. Look at the ground dimensions and it's probably going to be a long kick in. Like even against Sydney, when we went round the boundary, we end up 70 out and have to kick it long to the forward pocket to a pack. At least get Finbar in there and may mark it. It'll bring it to ground.
Tell you what he won't do.
Same with Chom.
Tell you what he won't do with Finbar. Won't get outmarked.
No.
He'll bring it to ground.
So, but I mean, the other thing is, I was thinking you might have been saying to Darling have a rest, but he does bring ground pressure for a player.
No, I'm still happy for him.
Yeah, no, but we've got to be careful of being too tall up there and not bringing the pressure. But it will be a smaller ground. So Finbar, I hope he can bring the ground pressure because you can't just fly for marks and then watch him walk it out. I'm not saying that's what he does, but he's obviously... And he'll be on debut, so we're not expecting 6 on debut if he does play. But I think this is the time to play 3 key forwards is probably what I'm getting at.
Yes. Now let's have a look at the matchups. We'll start in the midfield.
Sorry, because I don't really listen when you talk. Did you drop Robbie Hansen Jr.?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I did. Although his first 2 weeks were good by foot, there's some of the efforts just...
Well, the last 2 weeks haven't been. So if you play 2 bad ones in a row, see you later. Go and work on your craft in the VFL.
I'll tell you what, that'd be nice. The last couple of years there's been blokes who played 22 bad ones in a row.
Well, that's what we've got to evolve to.
I agree. So let's have a look at the midfield. The ruck battle really intrigues me. So Big X against Wits, who I think's a really underrated ruckman and someone who has torched us for years. He used to beat Goldie.
Yeah, because he's too strong.
Oh, boy.
Bit of squeak there in the voice. He's too strong.
He is.
Well, I think it's time for a froth. Well, obviously my throat's a bit loose.
So it'll be a good matchup against X this week.
Yeah, and X is under a little injury cloud. And
that's another
he is actually
reason.
bigger and stronger than X.
And that's another reason why you'd have to play a third tall, because you can't expect X to carry the same load that he would otherwise. He's obviously playing hampered, so you need to give him more of a chop out with a proper second ruck.
Yeah, Chomp, he can leap. Yeah. And he's good pressure. He'll be like X in the ground balls. He'll get after it. Who's their second ruck?
Oh, probably Walter, I reckon.
Oh.
Well, no, it's Ethan Reid, sorry.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah, okay. So he's only a young fella. So, yeah, no, I like it. Chom's not working in the back line for what we said before. If they use his player, if there's no pressure on the ball coming in, if we can't force a high, let's call it a dump kick or a long high ball, then he's not as effective.
No, I'll be putting Chom forward this week if I don't play Finbar, but by God, I'll be moving him back against Carlton because that's what they love to do. But this is about the Suns, so let's have a look at the midfield battle. LDU, Jai, Sheasel, Powell, Wardlaw or Phillips. They're our guns in there. Then they've got a lot of talent. Matt Rao, who's having a fantastic start of the season. Noah Anderson, who's one of the most underrated players in the comp.
Yep.
Took Miller, who's been dangerous mid and forward. Old Ned, Sam Flanders, he's an accumulator. And Will Graham, who's one that probably doesn't get much limelight for them, but he's doing a lot of the grunt work. It reminds me of a young Andrew Swallow. They look a little bit the same as well.
Did you watch First Crack?
I haven't watched it yet, no.
No, well, they show great vision of Miller and his work rate, where he runs from the back pocket diagonally to sort of half-back midfield, then across to the wing, and whoever he's on, I can't remember who it was, just doesn't really follow him, and then he gets what looks like a bit of a cheap handball on the wing, because he created the outnumber just by work rate. And what do we criticise our midfield for?
Yeah.
So don't be beaten by what you know. You've got to run with him.
Well, I'm going to
with them all.
I'm going to add a watch.
It was fantastic vision. I recommend anyone watch it, because if you're watching on TV with just a close-up, as they like, you wouldn't see his work rate to get that ball.
Well, I'm putting the midfield group on watch this week. And not necessarily for contest, but for spread and effort.
Yes. Now I've got a comment on the midfield. What they've got to do is they've got to have enough composure to use a handball around the stoppage, especially the centre bounce stoppage, to get it to someone free, shoulders forward, who can then long kick it if they have to our 3 keys we're going to have in if we get our way, or hit a lead up. But too often last week we went back to the kicking it straight away and under a bit of pressure, and it's just a dump kick that means turnover. Once again, they showed Viney, who thank God we didn't get on a 4-year deal. Remember we're after him? It was him and Parker.
Oh my God. The amount of supporters that I argued with that wanted Viney.
Yeah, they showed some damage vision of him just getting having receivers there for the handball and just dump kicking it 20, 30 metres and it comes straight back over his head. And that's what we've done too often in the last 5 years. And we've got the good teams spread the ball by hand and then can drive the legs out and get free of that initial stoppage, and then we're still falling down with our kicking skills aren't up to it, but at least it gives you a chance.
Yeah, I like it a lot. So let's have a look at our defensive end matchup. So the Suns play the 3 talls, Ben King, who's in spectacular form, and then a couple of young emerging forwards in Jed Walter and Ethan Reid. So the matchups I'm thinking is probably back shoulder core to Ben King.
Yeah, well, he's done it on his brother.
He has. Griffin Logue probably goes to Jed Walter. Both. I'm a bit worried about Griff, actually. He was really poor and didn't look 100% last week.
No, well, hopefully he's better second up.
And Ethan Reid, Charlie Comben, the matchup there, or Whitlock, depending on whichever way they go with the 3. They can't go with 4 key backs again, because I'll...
No, so obviously if Chom goes forward...
Whitlock stays in.
Whitlock stays in and
Finbar
doesn't come in.
Yeah.
So there's a triangle. Obviously, Chom's playing, and if he's forward, Whitlock's back, and if he's still back, then Finbar's forward.
Correct.
I like it.
You've explained that well, much better than I did. Then you have a look at that dangerous medium-sized forward. So I heard today that Ben Long, so far this season, is the 6th highest rated player in the comp.
Wow.
So what he does is he gets a lot of score involvements. His opposition players often drawn to Ben King or the 3 big boys up there. So he's had a fantastic start to the season. Then they've got Ben Ainsworth, who circles north on the calendar every year.
Yeah, looks forward to playing us every
He
year.
feels his boots against us. And then Bailey Humphrey is another one who's dangerous in that forward. They don't have a typical small forward. I suppose he's the closest they've got.
Well, Humphrey's more like his Zerha, I suppose, if you want to compare him to or maybe a PC. But he's a top 10 draft pick, number 6, I think, from memory. And so obviously highly talented. And it's been inconsistent, but they are bringing him into the midfield rotation to get him up round the ball a bit more as well.
Yeah, so...
And he's a bit of a bull, isn't he?
Because they've got...
Hence the Zerha comparison.
Yeah, so for those who might be saying, oh, why have you kept Tucker in the team, or why, he can come on and play on one of those sized. They don't have a real zippy, dangerous, quick forward. Jake Rogers is one, but he's been the sub for them. They've also played Connor Butterick as a medium-sized forward, but he's out this week, so Rogers will probably come into the 22, I imagine. So he'll be one to watch as the quick, zippy ground ball player. Then having a look at our forward line, Larky probably gets Collins. I'll be shocked if they did otherwise. And then if you bring in a Finbar or a Chom forward, then that makes Mac Andrew more accountable. And if he goes to Darling, I think Darling would be a good one to know his influence and give Larky one-on-ones. And if old Mac doesn't want to defend, which he's been caught out at times, then Darling's got the footy nous to be able to make himself dangerous and be open. And hopefully our mids can lower their eyes, which off the track record doesn't fill me full of confidence.
No, Mac likes to mouth though.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, my man Cam will be flattening him.
Yes. Who's their third top defender?
They don't have one. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yulin was playing on Fogarty last week as the third.
Yeah, okay. He'd be, what, 6'2" or something, I suppose.
Yeah, 189, 190 maybe.
Yeah.
So that's why this is the big emphasis I've got in bringing a third tall.
Yes.
To make them change their game. Because they like having Yuland, Powell, Noble, Rioli to distribute off half back. Make them change or make them pay. That's what I'm rolling with this week.
I suppose the opposite, if we don't mark the ball, it's good, they're off to the races, aren't they? They're going to be off to the races anyway because that's why they got Noble and Rioli and the other two.
But it's like you mentioned, it's a more narrow ground so you can cluster a bit more.
Yes.
And team defence will be more of a thing than isolated on the wings or stuff like that.
Right. So, have we finished?
No.
Oh.
I've still got more matchups. So I think if they still only play the two talls, then the flow-on effect, like you'll get a Rioli on a Paul Curtis or a John Noble on a Zerha, and that's when you really isolate those one-on-ones in the goal square, which we don't see enough. We're too Larky focused.
Yes. And we've got to... Conversely, they have to be accountable when we haven't got the ball because they'll use those runners. And then next thing, the ball's flying into their forward line under no pressure. And we know how that story ends.
Yeah, I agree. So we're going to introduce a new segment now. So it's Baz's Big Call.
Oh.
So I'm going to predict a player stat line. And it can't be, Sheasel will have 25. Like, it's going to be something a bit obscure.
Well, it can be, but that won't be a big call.
No, exactly. Then you can take the piss out of me for that, because that would be horrendous. So, my big call for this week, Jacob Constanti. We saw him get all revved up last week, having fights, and played his best game in the blue and white. And just read in the Herald Sun today, out of contract at the year's end. So, he's doing his best work to get Brady to sign him back up. But I think he kicks 3 goals this week.
What?
I reckon he gets off the chain.
That is a big call.
Yeah, that's what I'm rolling with. So let's get to our predictions.
That'll be nice. So hang on, I want to have a look at Clarko's presser, his pre-match presser. So I'm sick of him telling him what they're good at and what they're going to do in the post-match presser.
Boy, you've lasered in on Clarko.
He's on the watch list. And so how about you tell us in the pre-match what you think they're going to do? Because I don't think you're letting any secrets out. If you know what they're going to do, they're going to know what they're going to do. So how about you tell us?
No, I don't think...
I'm obviously joking, but I don't want to hear it in the post-match.
Well, that's
my point. I was being a bit silly.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my point.
Right, we've got Media Street coming back up, but before then, let's get to our game predictions. So I've unfortunately got the Suns winning this by 37, and that's me being semi-positive, because it could get ugly.
No, I'm going the Suns by... I want 4 goals. I want us to be competitive at half-time, which is all Clarko ever talks about. Poor old Clarko. But we brought him in on $1 million a year to do something.
Let's go, Tom.
And I don't want him to just tell me what the opposition do well. So I think 4 goals. If it's more than 4 goals, I'll be disappointed. I want to see effort. That's the one thing I'm looking for. It's a smaller... shorter, narrower ground, so win the midfield. Their midfield's flying, but our midfield is, we all think they're stars or potential stars. And effort. It's going to be, I want to see a contest. I want even an ugly sort of game on the smaller confines.
Well, I think it's a big watch in the midfield this week. I mean, Jai can never question his heart and his effort. He's just got to be better by foot, make better decisions. LDU, I know there's an injury cloud there, but if he's playing, he's got to impact more, and be interesting to see what they do with Harry.
Yeah, I think I'd keep him at half-back.
I think with Wardlaw or a Willfield coming in, I think we probably skipped over a bit that Willfield might be low on the stat sheet, but he does a lot defensively, and geez, did nothing defensively.
Well, he could run with a Matt Rao, but I don't know if you can have George and Wilfield in the same team.
No, I don't think he
at this
can.
moment. So, and Wilfield was really good in the reserves, so he'd be unlucky not to get a call up. But and as we said, there's no reserves this week, so whoever's in the reserves just gets good freshener.
Yeah, so what was your 24, your margin is?
Yeah, I want us to win though.
Well, if I go to gather round again and we lose by 80 or whatever we lose by last year, they'll probably be sayonara.
It'll be the Queensland curse. You've had Brisbane 2 years, and now you've got little brother.
No, I only went... Well, I didn't go the first year.
Yeah, okay.
It'll be my second time at gather round, and it's fantastic too.
And you're going to all the games pretty much, aren't you?
Yeah, doing all the Adelaide...
Absolute footy nuffy this
Yeah, I think
weekend.
we're going to... Well, Thursday night at Adelaide Oval, Friday night at Adelaide Oval, Saturday down the Barossa, then Saturday night Adelaide Oval.
Well, don't go down, go up on the map.
No, I don't.
You're going to miss it.
Well, I'm geographically challenged, but that's why I've got my tour
Head
guide,
north.
Woodder.
Yep.
And then Sunday night, so I think 5 games.
Yeah, okay,
Which
nice.
would be nice. Right, let's get to Media Street. We've got 2 players in the firing line and one we've had in the chamber for a while, but forgot about it, and it's come back up this week.
Yeah, well, Media Street, right? So, little Jackie Higgins, right, for St Kilda. He's there on the news, mouthing Adelaide, saying, oh, I don't really like it, it's boring, there's nothing to do there. I reckon who's the CEO of the
Andrew
AFL?
Dillon.
He'd have been choking on his cornflakes, I reckon, when he saw that. And the Premier of South Australia as well. They would not have been happy. Anyway, nothing to do in Adelaide, it's boring. And, the beaches are okay. He finally came around after about 5 minutes.
Yeah,
but
what are you gonna do? He sounded like he was in COVID lockdown. I've got to play Call of Duty with the boys. Yeah. I've got to leave the room.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So, well done. Have a read the room, Jack.
I love listening to him because he's your typical no-brains footballer. Like, he wouldn't have done well at school. He left school early.
Yeah, he
remember?
did. Yeah,
and he's no education.
Yeah,
he's just a rough around the edges.
Yeah.
We love characters like that. But the next bloke in the firing line is, and this is a similar sort of incident. Last year, James Sicily.
Was it last year or the year before?
Might have been. No, I think it was last year.
Yeah, okay.
He had a presser and he was asked about the Tassie team and would he consider it. And let's just set the scene that Tasmanian government is pumping a lot of funds into the Hawthorn Football Club and has helped make them the appearing powerhouse that they are today.
Let's wind it back. When they came to Tassie, it was early 2000s, and they were a bit of a basket case financially. They come off a good period, but they weren't winning games, and they came down here. And yeah, Tassie's pumped a lot of money into him. He's the captain of the club. It's got Tasmania written on the jumper and all the merch. And no one will want to come and play in Tassie. No one will want to live in Tassie.
No, there's no nightlife. It's boring.
Yeah, it's boring. Oh, okay, family man. Well, he's still going out in the nightclubs, is he?
Yeah, well, he's got one of the... If we ever did a top 10 punchable lids in the AFL, he would be right up the pointy end.
So, well done, Tassie. Pumping all that money in, and that's the value we get from the Hawthorn captain. Just come and visit Tassie. It's boring.
He's an idiot.
And, I'm sure we'll try and sell our destination in Hobart a bit like Geelong do. Lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. Well, all we need
Quite
is... Quite a pace of life. You watch the Tassie team blow up if they start including land packages like our friends at the Cats do as well. Boy.
Yeah.
Be a destination club, but this is going to come out about them too, and I can't wait for that fall from grace. Right, let's get into...
Hang on. The bloke investigating him worked there.
Oh, don't start me.
He knows what the books say, and he'll just cover it up.
Oh,
whatever may be incriminating, because he wrote it.
Hold, because I'm going to do a grind my gears segment on that, because it is ridiculous. But let's get into our gather round tips. So we're recording on a Wednesday night as I fly to Adelaide tomorrow.
Yes, don't know the teams.
Don't know the teams of any game, but let's have a look at tomorrow night at the Adelaide Oval. Adelaide versus Geelong.
I've gone the Crows.
I've gone the Crows too. Expect it to be a pretty good contest, but I think their midfield's a little bit better.
Yep.
Friday night, Collingwood versus Sydney.
You're a bit hungry, eh? I don't know if the listeners heard that, but your stomach just came off the biggest growl. Well, you normally eat tea at this time. You're 10 minutes late, so your stomach's on a very tight watch or time clock.
I've eaten dinner at 6 o'clock for the last 6 years religiously, so
yes.
I'm very hungry. But keep going.
Collingwood.
I've got the Pies too, but I might switch depending on the teams because I just don't rate them. Okay. Saturday, we've both got the Suns over North. The corresponding game that I have a ticket to but aren't going is Carlton versus West Coast.
Boring. Carlton.
Yeah, I've got Carlton too, but I'd love West Coast to win.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Bulldogs versus Brisbane at Norwood Oval, which is a belter. And why is this not the Saturday night game instead, the Adelaide Oval instead? But yes, who
I've gone the Wall. I think the Wall will win. It'll take someone out.
Who's the Wall?
The Wall at Adelaide, at Norwood Oval.
Oh, yeah.
The big wall there. Someone will get poleaxed by
I
it.
can tell you what, I've got the stats here, and the Wall's undefeated.
Oh, right. Yeah, it would be. I think Brisbane, because they've got the... they played there last year, as you well know.
Yeah, I've got the Lions as
And
well.
anyone going there, if it's a sunny day, don't go on the outer wing. Go on the wall side, because all you do is look at the sun.
Yeah, as the vision showed, Fox Footy zoomed in on me.
They did.
And I forgot my sunnies, but
You've also forgot your merch.
They're packed.
Have you packed the merch?
Yep, stubby holders packed.
Is anyone you catching up with any listeners?
Probably. I'll probably
Have you
say
got grandstand seats? We're winding it back to the...
No, it's just
Gold
first
Coast.
come,
Oh, is it?
first.
You better get there early.
I
then.
will be, don't worry.
And I don't know what security they've got, but they blew up about the MCG security and how long it took the Brisbane and Richmond game to get in there. So you probably have the sniffer dogs there on you.
I'll be at the ground before Harry at this rate.
Yeah.
Saturday night, we got Melbourne versus the Filth.
Oh, God. I think Essendon.
I've tipped them. I've tipped the D's.
Yeah.
I've tipped the D's. I don't know. Essendon is shocking.
Well, so are Melbourne.
Yeah, but I hate Essendon. So if it's 50-50...
Essendon won a game, haven't they?
Yeah, they beat Port, but that means about as much as beating Melbourne.
Yeah.
Like when we did. The other game at the Barossa pits the Tigers against the Dockers.
Dockers.
Yeah, same for mine. The Saints and the Giants at Norwood as well.
The Wall for 2 in a row.
Yeah.
They'll be in the 8. Who was it? Saints and who?
The Giants.
Giants. Well, those Saints, I tipped them last week. That was my bit of an out on the limb tip, and they came through for me.
Yeah, I've got the Giants as well. And then to close out the round, what will be lots of... you wouldn't want to be a Hawthorn supporter jabbing off on Sunday night.
No, you wouldn't want to be a neutral supporter jabbing off at JHF either.
Oh,
That's
will
a
be.
little warning to
They've
you.
taken it to the bank. That's happening.
Yeah, well, you'll get feralised by the ferals.
Uh,
They took out Clarko back in the day.
yeah. And that was the sort of Angry Clarko winning flags. Now we've got this...
I want Angry Clarko back.
Yeah.
I want him back.
Port versus Hawthorn.
Hawthorn.
I've got Hawthorn, but I'll be hoping Port win.
Weird.
I hate Hawthorn.
Yeah, true.
I hate Port, but I
I
hate
don't like
Hawthorn more.
I want to see it blow up with Ginnivan or someone doing the big aeroplane celebration.
Well, if he kicks a goal and they're in front, it'll happen. Take it to the bank.
Apparently Sicily, it said I think it was on First Crack
They're
again.
a nothing club.
Yes.
Well,
so he doesn't like Hobart or Tassie, and he doesn't like Adelaide, or particularly the port side of Adelaide. So I wonder where he lives. Must be paradise where he lives.
Very interesting. But yeah, that's our preview for round 5 against the Suns at Gather Round. Everyone going over there, enjoy your time. I'll run into a few of you, no doubt, and we'll have a good yarn and hopefully see a very competitive, if not a win from the Roos. Although we're not filled with confidence after last week's poor performance, but I want to see a response. That's the big thing.
We're looking for a response. Let's make last week, particularly the second half, the outlier, not the standard, because we've had that standard for 5 years and we're bloody sick of it. It was almost going to be something stronger than bloody, but hello to little Jimmy. He's going to gather around.
He is.
It's meant to be 35, I heard.
That's ridiculous.
So make sure you get not just your sunglasses, your hat and your sunblock.
Yeah, SPF 50 will be getting a fair run.
Yeah, anyway, good luck, safe travels, and Karma Kangas!
See you later, guys. We'll be dropping our pod Sunday morning over Zoom with the great man. The Frog will be back, so we'll speak to you then, hopefully after a win. Until then, go Roos.
Good old North Melbourne, they're champions, you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for